Welcome everybody to my next update on my action RPG Gate. So I tried making this video, but it turned out to be a little too long, so I'm just gonna remake it. I'm just gonna shorten everything that I said to make it more digestible. So the first thing that I'm gonna talk about is the dungeon generator. So I'll talk about this in one of my previous videos. I went over how it works if you wanna check that one out. So I'm just gonna talk about the improvements that I made this time around. So you can see that the dungeon now has a lot more decorations. That's because now I added obstacle decorations like these stones, as well as holes or inner tiles that are inside inside some of the random rooms, like you can see here. I added more decorations to the walls as well. The custom rooms are still spawning, but they are more rare. As well as I added encounters to random rooms. So now you can see here this random chest here is spawning in regular rooms instead of having its own room to itself. So this is mostly what I did with the generator. Now the only thing that I don't like is that sometimes it takes a while to generate a proper layout, but now it's working. Monsters don't overlap with the terrain and whatnot, and you can see that it's generating the encounters correctly. Of course, the number of rooms and everything scales with the level of the dungeon. So these are the main improvements that I made to the dungeon. Like I said, if you are interested, you can watch that older video about how I made this generator. So now I'm gonna move on to the animators, the animations on the player, which is what I'm working on. It's still a work in progress, but this is the next thing. So let's get right into it. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna talk about the player animation rework. So the player was in need of a rework. It was one of the first things that I implemented, and the older player, it was really stiff. It only has 6 frames of walking animations and nothing else. The head had no frames, so it was really difficult to animate movement. Also, the player, since it had no hands, it was difficult to express new animations. So this time around, I added hands to the player. I made it a little bigger, as well as I reworked the way the animations are done. Now, currently, I'm using a custom amulet that is giving me a lot of movement speed and attack speed, just to showcase the animations when the player has a little more speed. So this is the bow animation, for example. You can see that it has custom animations for walking and also when utilizing abilities. I added animations to every weapon type that I could. So this is the crossbow, for example. You can see that is reloading. Now I may add the ability to rotate the weapon for shooting weapons like bows and crossbows, so it actually looks towards the place that you're shooting at. For weapons like two-handed weapons, you can see that the player is holding it differently. This is the generic animation for two-handed weapons, right? He's holding it over the head. Now, of course, I'm just using the default skills that I always use just to showcase the animations here. So let's say you are one-handed weapons. This is the one-handed animation. Now, since you can have offhand weapons, this also works with offhand animations. You can have one-handed caster weapons, as well as a melee weapon on the other, like this, and vice versa, of course. Also, something like staffs. So like this staff, for example, it has a custom animation for casting spells. Claws, which is a weapon type in my game, they also have a custom animation, like a jab. I think this is the quick overview of the animations that I have so far. I'm gonna have others like this one, which is a movement skill. I still haven't finished it, but you can see that it's actually a lot easier to tell what the character is doing It's like slamming the ground with the weapon. This particular one, of course, is not finished because it's not traveling far enough. But you get the idea. This is the animation rework that I'm working on currently. But I wanted to show it because it's one of the things that was most necessary. This NPC is the example of the player how it was looking before. So this is roughly the comparison, right? So I'm just gonna have to remake all of the helmets and the armors on this new character, which is gonna take me around a week, maybe less. I don't know, but since I have like at least 50 different items so far, it's gonna take me a while for all these new animations. So these are the character reworks. I'm just gonna go over the crafting forge next. So let's get into it. Okay, so I want to talk about real quick about the forge. So this forge is another avenue that players have to be able to craft their items. So as you may know, I'm using a rune system which takes inspiration from Path of Exile. So runes are basically these consumables that you can utilize on items to craft on them. So you can craft on them, you can modify their stats and whatnot. Some of these runes are gonna guarantee certain stats, etc. So let's showcase this forging system. So when you put an item here that has some force power, which is that number there under the red amble icon. So force power basically just determines how many times you can craft on something. So you can see the list of modifiers here. You can add a new modifier if it has an open slot, or you can either upgrade it to a better one, or you can swap it for a random one. Right? So this gives you a little more freedom. So if there's a mod there that you don't really need in your build, you'll have the option to gamble and swap it for something else. Of course, the idea is that the players are gonna have to decide what's the best course to take when crafting an item. Like, should you swap it randomly to lose some force power, or maybe guarantee one of the modifiers but lock you from future crafts, etc. So you can craft something here. It's gonna lose some force power, but you can still modify it with runes normally like this. Every time you put something here, it's gonna list all of the possible things that you can craft. And when it runs out of force power, like here, you can no longer use the force on this item, but you can still use runes normally to modify it further. Right, so you have these two systems in my game now. So you can utilize runes, and you can utilize exclusively runes because there's a good amount of them to be able to make some good items. And you can also use the force to perfect them or to make them a little better. Now the balance on this is of course all over the place. The chances and the costs and all of that needs to be rebalanced. But this is just the quick explanation of what this system is. You can swap modifiers that you don't want, right, for a cost of essence, which is this currency that you get from basically scrapping items. So this is a system that I showed before. You can destroy any item that is not normal, and it's gonna give you some essence back. So this is the force system. Uh, I took inspiration from Last Epoch, which is another action RPG, and I think I did a pretty okay job for the game that I'm going for. I wanted the game to be more casual friendly. I don't want it to be too difficult to make some usable items. So this system is hopefully gonna help with that. So now let's move on to the final part. I'm just gonna talk about the future of the game. Will I showcase some gameplay inside one of the dungeons? So let's get into that. So I'm just gonna talk about the future of the game at this point. So the game is only missing a handful of features. So it's missing some, of course, the animations, but it's also missing all of the equipment that the player has. So the helmets and the armor should be visible on the player. This is something that I had before on the old character model, but of course I don't have access to that now. So that's what I'm gonna work on next. After this, I'm gonna start the content phase. So content phase is essentially where I'm gonna add all of the content into the game. So I'm gonna add a lot of monsters. I'm gonna have to think about lots of different monsters. I'm gonna need ideas for skills, so skills for the player. I'm gonna add enhancements, which are these custom modifiers that you can add to your skills uh, to make them better and customize them even further. I'm gonna need to add new tile sets. So the dungeon is gonna have different tile sets, not only this. It's gonna have new encounters, so new stuff that you're gonna find randomly in the dungeon, new bosses, um, basically anything you can think of. A town with actual NPCs inside and everything. So basically, all the content is gonna be added in the content phase. Now, of course, this is only gonna be for the alpha of the game. I plan to release an alpha or some kind of test for people to try the game. There's gonna be a lot of work done to be made in the balance section of the game because, of course, there's a lot of numbers involved in this game. You know, damage numbers, balance in the numbers and the mechanics of the skills, etc. So that's gonna take me a while, but I really wanna just put out an alpha up there for people to just try the game. But of course, before that, I need to add the content. So that's what's gonna happen next. So I think that's it for this update. I just wanted to share my progress and the future of the game. So please like and subscribe, and also don't forget that I stream every weekday on Twitch for about 6 hours. So you can pop into the stream, say hello, and just if you have some ideas for new content or just new stuff that you want to share about the game, you can get in there and tell me what you think. Also, I have a Discord, so you can join my Discord as well on the description. I think that's it for me. See you on the next update in 2 weeks, and take care.